good, y'all? It's the one and only King Cow 516 live in the mix, and this is the Swish Flames podcast. Check out our website, www.swishflames.com. Hit us up on Twitter at Swish Flames, and hit us up on our brand new Facebook page at Swish Flames Podcast. So let's get right into this. According to Bleacher Report, this was dropped by Jake L Fischer. Bradley Beal is considering a trade request out of Washington prior to draft week. Now, for those of you who might not be aware, the NBA draft is going to take place this Thursday night coming at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. All right? So, the draft is coming, and Bradley Beal is considering axing out. And I'm going to tell you why I am not surprised by this, and I'm going to tell you why I do believe there's some juice behind this story. Okay? Now, let me just put this and paint this out to you guys. Team USA has been playing for a few weeks now, and as Team USA has been playing, you've been seeing a couple of things hit the media. Nothing too serious, but one of the things you've seen starting to be pushed out there, is the connection between Bradley Beal and Jason Tatum. They went to the same high school. You know what I mean? Here's the thing, and this is what I believe. A lot of these guys, when they go to Team USA and they start playing with these high caliber players on a regular basis, it gets them thinking. They start thinking about, especially depending on where they are in their career, right? Now, somebody like Bradley Beal, who's been in the league for a while and hasn't accomplished anything on a major scale yet, guys like that are going to be more susceptible to possibly feeding into the frenzy of players saying, hey, you should come play with us. Make no mistake about it, when you have a Team USA situation, guys are talking like that because you start hanging out with guys for, a short, extended period of time, and you like the chemistry you have with certain guys, it's bound to happen. Look what happened last offseason with James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant. They played some pickup together, and they liked how they were playing together, and that kind of opened the doors for this whole Brooklyn thing to happen. So imagine Olympics where depending on how long you guys stay there, you're going to be together for about a month. That's long enough for a lot of talking to be done. And remember, especially now these guys are in Tokyo, you're seeing these guys all the time, right? So you're hanging out with these guys. These are not the people you're going to be hanging out with that you don't necessarily hang out on a regular basis. And so a lot of talking gets done. So I'm pretty sure Bradley Beal has been looking and analyzing his situation in Washington and trying to determine, does he want to commit long term or not? Because he's coming up on an extension soon. Think about this. Bradley Beal has one more year on his deal with a player option, right? So most likely that player option, barring any major injury, most likely he's going to opt out to re-sign, right? So before he gets to that point, now's the time he can ask for a trade. He's in a similar situation what AD would be in, because AD was traded in his offseason prior to his last year to the Lakers before his player option kicked in the year after. So this last offseason, AD opted out his deal and re-signed with the Lakers. And why is this important? Because if Bradley Beal, it's important for a couple of reasons. Bradley Beal does go forward with this trade request now, before the draft, it'll give the Washington Wizards the maximum leverage to get the best deal for them in exchange for Beal. It'll also give the Wizards, looking into this kind of deal, control of a potential draft pick they might get in this pick. You know what I mean? And so it gives the leverage, it gives the Wizards full leverage, but it also helps Bradley Beal in return, because it maximizes the chances of him actually leaving as right now. And so any deal struck, let's just say Bradley Beal goes ahead and asks for this trade request, any deal struck by the draft won't get completed until the official new league year goes into play. You've had a couple of deals that, were announced at the draft that didn't get into play until the league year. One that was way, years back now was when LeBron went back to Cleveland, and the Andrew Wiggins deal for Kevin Love. That was like one of those deals where, at draft it was announced, but when the league year turned officially, that's when they completed the deal. So what's important, once again, Bradley Beal probably has a great understanding of this. His best leverage is to tell them this week so they can start working out a deal, so they can have potentially picking a draft pick from the team that they're going to trade him to. And so according to these reports, Bradley Beal is definitely considering it. And like I said, I believe it. And, a couple of teams that are coming into play. First and foremost, I truly believe the Boston Celtics would be a team on deck, because I do believe the Jason Tatum and Bradley Beal friendship is real. And I think they're really cool. Now, would it be sacrificing Jaylen Brown to make it happen and some other things? That's where it can get a little tricky. But Bradley Beal is an upgrade for Jaylen Brown. I'm a big Jaylen Brown fan, so I wouldn't like to see that deal. But I think with Boston, you kind of plateaued where you are. So I think Boston would be willing to make a big move like that to try to mix things up a little bit, because they've been getting a little stagnant. And especially this year, they had a drop off. So who knows as far as that goes. But definitely expect Boston to be in the mix. Another team that will definitely be in the mix, and according to some rumors as well that's going on, Golden State Warriors. We're getting wind that Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond, they want ownership to get some win-now players and not focus on these picks, because they have a few picks this draft. They got some young talent on the team, but those guys kind of want back a win-now player to kind of help with this title run this year. And so I wouldn't count out the Golden State Warriors. And man, you put Bradley Beal on the Warriors, that's not as lethal as Kevin Durant, but still, from a shooting perspective, that's tough. That'll definitely shoot them on the top upper echelon of the Western Conference. And that will also take a little pressure off of Klay Thompson and his, Klay Thompson's been hurt for 2 years straight, so that'll take off a great deal of pressure off of Klay Thompson coming back as well. Other teams that are listed is Miami and Philadelphia. You know what I mean? So Bradley Beal could be used on either one of those teams. The question would be, do the Wizards really want to go through a full rebuild? Or do the Wizards want to get still win-now players and try to be relevant still now? And that will probably dictate possibly where Bradley Beal goes. Now, the Bleacher Report didn't say he's like forcing his way to certain teams. But there's going to be teams, and some of the teams, like for instance that I mentioned, are going to be more favorable, because there is one aspect of Bradley Beal, and I'm going to use that Anthony Davis trade as an example, that gives Bradley Beal an advantage. And even over, as of right now, just put it like this, Bradley Beal has more power than Damian Lillard on where to go, because Damian's under contract for a longer period of time. Bradley Beal is technically under contract 1 more year, and then he could just opt out. So any team that the Wizards are negotiating with and they like the deal that they have on the table, that team is going to want assurances from Bradley Beal that he wants to go there. Why? Because they want to make sure that he gets extended, right? So they are not going to at all be able to pull a trigger with Bradley Beal without Bradley Beal okaying it, because no team is going to trade assets of what's required to get a Bradley Beal without assurances that Bradley Beal's not going to re-sign with them. So Bradley Beal has a lot of power in this case if he asks for this trade, and that's going to be a big difference and key for him on his side on how he's going to have leverage. So you can see where it's going to be a smart move if Bradley Beal definitely wants out, and I'm pretty sure him and Westbrook have had talks. I'm pretty sure he's trying to look at his career and just, this is a business decision if this is done, and I don't think it's anything personal, because I think Bradley Beal has liked being in Washington. He's been pretty loyal, but getting to the point he is in his career, he has to be looking long term and just thinking, does he want to end his career there? And if he's ending his career, is he ending his career in mediocrity? Or is there an opportunity maybe for him to put himself in the best position to win? So I'm pretty sure it's torn, and I'm pretty sure this is why a firm decision hasn't been made yet. But I think there is some smoke to this fire, and I do believe that this is really Bradley Beal contemplating this. I also believe this is why you're starting to see some of these rumors, possibly Westbrook going to like a team such as like the Lakers are popping up. And I don't know fully what's going on behind the scenes in the Wizards organization, but there were rumors that Westbrook didn't like the fact that the coach got fired, that Scotty Brooks got fired. I know Westbrook, according to reports, wanted him to stay. I'm not too sure what Bradley Beal thought about that coach being fired. They have a new young coach, new coach coming in this year. So it's kind of like restarting anyway. So maybe Bill might be thinking that, hey, you know what? Maybe it's just time to move on. So we'll see what happens. So, definitely be on the lookout the next few days. We'll definitely be watching the situation, and if it becomes officially official that he asks for a trade, we're going to discuss it and talk about it. But this is looking like there's a lot of smoke to this fire, and we'll see what happens. So Bradley Beal, potentially he's looking to possibly axe out, and he might axe out this week prior to the NBA draft. With that said, it's your boy King Cal 516 live in the mix, and this has been the Swish Flame Podcast. Be sure to hit the like, the subscribe, the follow button. Definitely appreciate you guys' support. Now that it's the NBA offseason, we're going to bring you a lot more rumors. We're going to have some draft coverage. We're going to bring you a lot of transactions coming in free agency. It's definitely an exciting time. We're definitely going to fill in this offseason time with a lot of content. Once again, we definitely appreciate the support. Till next time, peace.